Hi everyone.
Job, I think we can begin.
Okay, fine.
It's 9:11. Go ahead and begin.
Okay, fine. I want to welcome all to Spring Break Kenya, and we wish to share with you what Spring Break Kenya is doing, the great work we are doing in Kenya, working with the youth, working with the rural villages, trying to empower the youth, trying to develop the rural areas of Kenya, and trying also to light up the rural areas. I'll welcome Esther to give a brief history of Spring Break Kenya, how it started, its mission, and what we look for. Hi Esther, welcome.
Okay, thank you so much, everybody, and I would like to welcome everybody that's tuned in from every place in the continent, from Kenya to the US to Israel, wherever you are. Welcome, and thank you very much for sparing your time to join us and to understand what we as Spring Break Kenya are doing in Kenya. So I just like to talk briefly about the history, and so it goes back to 2012, and it's related to the famine. We all remember the Horn of Africa famine, and there's a lot of media, and it's bad media that was showing all these faces of hungry people, mothers sleeping, mothers who walking for long distances with their children, and some children dying on the way while trying to look for food. And to me, as a person, I thought, these children could be my children, these dying mothers could be my mother. It kind of really started uh, uh, my deep thinking into what we can do as a society to help alleviate hunger issues. And I was also uh, one of the founding members of Young Thinkers Kenya, and where we were on Facebook, and I was just trying to create discussion with young minds about what are some of the possible solutions that they can do to really help solve the hunger issues. And when I talk about the hunger issues, for me, I didn't think of just handing in food for the day. For me, it was creating sustainable solution to the hunger, to the recurring hunger issue, beginning in Kenya, in Africa, and to other places. And so I was there talking and chatting, and all of a sudden, Simeon Ogonda came in with, and he was talking about, hey, we have young, vibrant students, and how can we use them? And I was like, wow, maybe we can really tune into the university students. These are young minds. They're trained in our universities. They have the knowledge. They come from the villages, so they can be great agents of change. And as we were chatting, and all of a sudden, an idea came to me. I was like, wow, why can't we organize ourselves in form of what students in the US do, spring break, where people take a week and they go out. However, in the US, people get out and go have fun. But I thought, okay, we also have alternative spring break where students in the US take on a trip 1 week long, and they go to a community and they do something substantial. So I flashed out the idea. I said, hey, what can we do with our young students? Can we also create a similar program where our young Kenyan students can, during their holidays or 1 week when they can spare a week and they can go to the communities because they know these communities very well, and they can do something to help solve the problems that communities face. And from there, the rest is history. It so happened that all of a sudden, Simeon was there, and he took on the idea and he ran with it. And it so happened that he was a student at that time at Maseno University, and What followed is we organized students from Maseno and students from other campuses, and we were able in the May of 2012 to actually hold our first spring break camp. So that's a little history about Spring Break Kenya. And moving forward, for me, I believe in public service. I am a public servant, and I want to spread the message of young people have who have the energy, who can be change makers, need to serve the communities that have really offered so much so that we go and get our education. And one of the key pillars of Spring Break Kenya is to promote public service amongst our Kenyan university students. And this is a big thing to me and to the it's a core mission that we really emphasize on, and we've continued to build that through having our Spring Break Kenya camps. We've already had 3 now since we began in 2012, and we will only have more. We'll continue to have more. And we've also seen the progression of public service. For instance, we've already also promoted, we've asked universities to go ahead and form chapters, and we have one university, and they're very active in that. Just last week, they went into a community and they were able to take on solar lights, for example, and they visited with the students. And so I'm seeing students now finally taking the word, taking the core mission of Spring Break Kenya, and doing following our visions and mission. And I'm very impressed. So thank you very much. That's the brief history of Spring Break Kenya. Back to you, Joab.
Great, Esther. Thanks so much for giving us the history. How Spring Break started, that's so great. And the history of Spring Break directs what Spring Break is doing. Its history motivates students to do the public service. I'll directly get into what Spring Break is doing, and I'll give what Spring Break is doing with the youth, specifically
Right.
how Spring Break is trying to empower the youth and motivate them towards embracing public service. Through the camps that Esther has talked about, the youth come together, we share a lot as a youth, we being included, being within that age bracket of the youth. We share what the youth think they need to do. And according to the statistics, you'll find that majority of the population is composed of the youth. And it's projected that by 2020, also in Africa, in every 4 people, 3 will be between the age of 15 and 20. And that is the age where the youth are more energetic, they're more vibrant.
Right.
And therefore, without them being empowered, we lose a whole generation, bearing in mind that the youth hold the future of this world. And therefore, we empower the youth by training them through various skills that motivates them towards embracing public service. We train them in social entrepreneurship, and we try to make them understand that by embracing public service, they are able to serve their community. In the camps, we motivate them towards doing community service, being able to serve the people in the rural areas, and bearing in mind that unemployment has been a major problem in Africa, and an idle mind is normally has been taken advantage of. Most of the conflicts in Africa, it is the youth who are taking part because they have nothing else to do. And therefore, trying to engage them in something constructive in doing farming, in doing agriculture, in starting up small businesses. We're trying to engage these youth so that they can have something to do without just being sitting there idle. We majorly focus on learning institutions, the youth in the colleges, the youth in the secondary schools, and in these camps, we bring people of diverse culture together, and by doing this, we are making them able to integrate with one another, able to learn from one another, and therefore trying to diffuse the problem of ethnicity too. And therefore, through Spring Break, we have been able to reach a good number of youths. For example, in our last camp, we managed to have about 1,250 students participating in the camps. And therefore, by bringing these people together, they've been sharing and talking to one another, learning from one another, learning diverse cultures, has really assisted in integrating these people into the community and learning to live with one another. I welcome Esther to add anything on that.
And I think this as I said, we deal with young people, young university students, so we encourage them to also have fun as they come together, they enjoy, but at the same time they form partnerships and they also get out there and carry on meaningful youth projects. For example, I'd like to just build on just recently with Pwani University chapter, they built upon a partnership that Spring Break Kenya has had, and this was a solar lighting, and it all happened. I went for a conference in Delaware, and I met other two very young also and vibrant change makers, and here they were promoting one of their inventions, which was a solar lighting lamp. And then from Delaware, we moved on to Kenya, and we were like, how can we promote entrepreneurship amongst our participating young university students? And how can we then, from the young university students, also work with other youth that are either unemployed or they're in the pipeline of getting employed? How can we pull them together and find a way that they can get money, they can make money, but at the same time also help bring solar lighting in the communities, because we know that a lot of rural communities do not have lighting, and solar lighting is one of the most sustainable forms of lighting that can be promoted in our rural Kenya communities. So that's one of the things that the youth have been able to do. Also through Spring Break Kenya, just right now it's ongoing. We have through our partnerships with Startup Africa, we have a diamond challenge that's going on, and we are going to our actually. So we are using our young university student chapter members, and they go to the rural schools and other schools, and these are high school students. So we are creating that also mentorship, whereby when our university students interact with the younger ones at the high schools, while promoting entrepreneurships and selling the concepts of entrepreneurship, there's that learning in that these young students look at their brothers and sisters who are in the universities as their role models. I believe through that interaction, then we're having these young students saying, oh, I want to be like so-and-so. I want to be like Daylin Bishanga, for example. That's one of the very active student members in Pwani University. I believe when they go down to these high schools and they talk with the students, those students are really, really want to become like them. So we at Spring Break Kenya, I would think that while we are focusing on youth empowerment and entrepreneurship, we are also mentoring along the way and creating this change at different levels. And we also, as I said, one of the things that we also do when we get out for the camps we do a lot of mentoring. We go out to the communities and go out to the primary schools, we go out to the high schools, and we let the children see their brothers who have made it, brothers who are in the university systems. Personally, when I was growing up, I didn't have a role model. I didn't ever interact with people that were going to universities to inspire me to really want to go to the university. But I believe that as we are sending our university student chapters to the communities as they fulfill the mission and visions of Spring Break Kenya, we are also helping inspire another generation, inspiring them to be who we are, to be able to work hard and to be able to persevere against the challenges that they go through and to eventually be able to walk into university systems one day. And that to me is one of the things that we are doing. Back to you.
Thank you, Esther. Thank you, Esther. And maybe just to add on, through our solar lighting project, we believe we are promoting education too at the primary level for those students back in the rural communities who do not have electricity. They're able to use these lights to do some extra studies, to do their homework that they're given when out of school. And therefore, by this, we are promoting education in these schools too. And Spring Break Kenya is establishing chapters in various universities so that we are able to reach a wide audience. We are able to reach a great number of youth in the institutions of higher learning. Thanks, Esther, so much for adding on that. And therefore, I'll get back to you to take us through one of our projects that you're doing, and that is a project on agribusiness.
Okay, so once again, I say the formation of Spring Break Kenya was during that heightened Ethiopia famine, the Horn of Africa famine. So we were really we came together during that moment where hunger was on the new headlines. It was, and the pictures were just everywhere. And so, and personally, I'm an entomologist. I'm trained so much to deal with agriculture. I spent 2 years in Israel as a visiting scholar, so first-hand impact of agriculture. Also, I've grown in the community, so I know what the challenges that my mother, my other mothers, these are women in rural Africa, face. We all know that we rely on just rain-fed agriculture, which by now we know that yes, rains come, and the next minute we know they don't come. So what happens to every active woman or every active farmer that planted their crops? Their crops die, and what cascades is hunger. So if you will, hunger. So one of our pioneering, one of our activities in Spring Break Kenya is Seed Against Hunger, and this one is it has really been a stepping stone for us to come up with a company. So right now we have Oyeska Green, and what we are doing is we are trying to promote climate smart agriculture. What I mean by climate smart agriculture, we are exploring greenhouse technology. We're exploring the possibilities of contract farming. We're exploring the possibilities of making sure that we modernize our agriculture at the rural communities. I would like to say that already we have 2 greenhouses in place, and we have a screenhouse because for the first time we use the greenhouses, but we learned lessons that greenhouses cannot really work in the Kenyan coast. The Kenyan coast is pretty hot. And so what's happening is now we are moving from greenhouses to screenhouse. And we are hoping that Spring Break Kenya will help really shape the agriculture of the Kenyan coast through our activities on the ground. As I said, through greenhouse farming, we already have 10 farmers who are committed to work with us. As I speak, in 2 or 3 days, we'll have actual training of these farmers, and they're being trained by Kenya Agricultural Research Institute, agriculture, a person who has worked for Kenya Agriculture Research Institute, who knows the know-hows of greenhouse farming and farming, modern farming. And we are hoping throughout the year, our core farmers will then spread the knowledge they learn to other farmers. So we are building a pillar where we can be able to expose our farmers to modern technologies. As we said, Spring Break Kenya has also chapters, and we are hoping to form many more chapters throughout Kenya. So once we succeed with our model at the Kenyan coast, what we hope is that we will use our student network, our university network, then to spread to the other regions of Kenya so that we can really look behind and say, look, what we've done. And making sure that the really core thing that helped us form Spring Break Kenya, we can look back and say, look, this is what inspired us. And 10 years down the lane, we can look back and say, look what we've done. We really were out to find sustainable solution to the hunger issue. And yes, we believe it is going to come through climate smart agriculture. We are also partnering with people like Shamba Technology, and this using technology. We all know that Kenya is well known for technology. We are well known for M-Pesa. We are known for whatever technology using the telephone. So we're trying to see how can Shamba help us then help our rural farmers to be able to sell their products through their cell phones. How can we use ICT to enhance our agriculture at the rural communities? So we are working with Shamba, and we are hoping as we grow, we'll work with many more ICT groups. And as I say, Spring Break Kenya also coordinated training of around 120 community members' computers. They were exposed to just how to operate a computer, how to put their, to create a Word file, how to create an Excel sheet. So I'm hoping that knowledge that they were trained is soon, once we start blowing up with the agriculture, is going to translate to having farmers who are smart, who are exposed to modern agriculture, farmers who are actually practicing 21st century farming. And that's one of the pioneering areas that Spring Break Kenya is doing. So thank you.
Thank you, Esther. Thank you so much. Esther has touched on various things, that almost everything that Spring Break does. And we just want to stress the need to scale up our activities, the need to work with more universities, the need to work with more communities. We are finding that many people, many rural communities are getting interested in what you are doing, and they really want to take it up. And we are encouraging many communities to embrace agribusiness. And we are doing so that we can fight the poverty, which was the sole cause for Spring Break's formation, because Spring Break was formed at a time when people were dying of hunger. And therefore, we believe that the seed against hunger will ensure that people do not die again of this hunger. And once we scale up our agribusiness project throughout the country, we believe that we will be able to fight this hunger that led to the formation of Spring Break. Thank you so much, Esther. Mm-hmm. And I'm seeing people posting questions. Would you want to respond to any, Esther?
Okay, I will just, I see a question from Raphael, and is asking if our organization works throughout Kenya. My response is, eventually we will. As I said, we started in Maseno. That's where our first Spring Break Kenya was held, and that's where all the discussions leading to Spring Break Kenya began. From there, we formed a chapter in the Kenyan coast through Pwani University. So we already have moved from Kisumu and we are already in the Kenyan coast. And we are encouraging more students at the university institutions to reach out to us so that we can help them form a chapter in the universities, which will allow us to be able to operate in other regions. Already, we are thinking of also doing a Spring Break Kenya camp at the eastern parts of Kenya, which is Machakos and Makueni district. There are ongoing talks right now, and we hope in April we will have a student camp there. So why are we doing these camps at the various regions in Kenya? Because we believe we want to work with the community. We want to work from bottom up, not up down. And we want to go really to the communities where these people are, where the need is. And so that's why we go to the communities. And we believe even through that 1 week when we are in the community having a Spring Break Kenya camp, we are taking notes from the community members. We are interacting with them. We are listening to them. What do they want? We are also watching what are the needs. And then once we come back, we reflect, we say, okay, this is what they need. And we try to reach out to organizations that could be in that area. And we are trying to find out what can we do. So I said, we've been in Kisumu, we're in the Kenyan coast, we are hoping to be in the eastern. And I'm reaching out to other people, and we have actually, there's also one that's ongoing in Turkana through one of our Spring Break Kenya board members, Marion, is helping us to set a chapter there. So we're hoping then we can also be able to reach out to that region. And so I hope in the 5 years ahead, I would be hoping that we will have reached at least every region in Kenya. And if there are any students tuned in right now, or if there are any other people tuned in, if you know of a region that we are not currently in and you can help us, we encourage you to reach out to us and we will get back to you and we will work our way to your community. So thank you.
Thank you, Esther. There was a question also on how we are funded. Actually, Spring Break has committed members. It has a committed board, and Spring Break is funded through the donations of the board members and through the sale of the solar energy. We sell the solar light or the jewel light at a subsidized price, and part of the sale goes back to Spring Break, and it's the one that we are using to fund most of our projects, and also the board contributions that we do annually. And we are calling upon people to help us scale up the Jewel Light project so that we are able to reach a wide area of throughout Kenya. And therefore, we are making an appeal that let people come, join us, so that we can be able to save more lives and bring change in the society.
And I would like to, there's also a question if we have any opposition and from where, with which sector of the population of Kenya. I would say so far we haven't had any opposition. We, as I said, when we go to the communities, we listen to them because it's their community. They know better than we do. We are just there to help bring out the change that we can. And I believe, even though I'm educated, I believe there's so much knowledge in the community. There's so much knowledge, and the young people just have to learn to listen. Our older people, even though they never went to school, have so much knowledge. If we can tap in and then use the knowledge they give us and use our current exposure to modern technologies, but to effect change. So we haven't gotten any opposition, and I believe partly it's because of how we operate. We don't go to the communities and say, we come here to help you, this is what we're going to do. No, we go there and we listen. And as I say, before even we do camps, we always send a team to the community so that they interact with the chief, with the local council elders. So by the time we come, actually the community is out there to receive us, as compared to just trying to oppose us. So we've had luck using that approach. And then I think, what is the other question I was gonna? I don't see any other questions here. So keep posting the questions. Anybody who's tuned in.
You're welcoming the questions.
Let's see. Okay, there's a question from Marcia, and it says, how do parents of the youth who take part in this respond to their efforts? That's a good question, Marcia, and I would say that the parents, as I say, they respond very well. We've not had any trouble with the parents. As a matter of fact, actually, the parents are encouraging, so encouraging. And we find even when they go to the communities, actually, the members of the community who happen to be parents actually come out and interact with the students that are in their community during that week. So the parents are very supportive. As I said, these are communities that need change. And they've sat in the communities with nobody thinks about them. So it's about time that the young people that have been educated, when they go in, actually, I think they are so well received, and nobody is having any problem. So that's the answer to your question, Marcia. And I will answer another question from Rafael, who's saying, are the universities supporting your efforts? And the answer is a big yes. I would like to point out, for instance, right now we have our Pwani University Spring Break chapter. I can tell you how much support we've had from the university itself, through the dean, through one of their professors, Professor Rose Kigati. They've been instrumental and very helpful. First of all, they let their students even take the week when we had a camp in Kikoneni, they let the students take that week off. To us, that's really a big deal. Secondly, they actually even release one of their professors to come join the students. To us, that's maximum support. And we'll continue to build these partnerships, and it's a win-win. The universities win because the universities are commissioned to train and to train the young generation and to help bring change in the communities. And we see a lot of support. And same with Maseno, I remember the first Spring Break Kenya camp we had, the university gave us the school bus that we used to transport the students to the area of the camp. To me, that's enormous amount of support, institutional support. And as I said, we've never had any resistance from the university institutions. As a matter of fact, they're really well supporting us, and we hope to continue build these partnerships so that eventually, we have a lot of chapters. We have chapters. My big aim and our aim, with the other board members, is to work until the day where all the university institutions in Kenya really work with us to promote public service, and more so to promote leadership, to really ethics, and to train our students, our generation of leaders, our tomorrow's leaders, the ethics of leadership, the ethics of public service. And so that we help create this future generation that's going to be able to serve our public and to be able to do all these amazing activities. So I would say, once again, we have a lot of university support.
Thank you.
Job, are there any other questions to answer?
There is a question on, there is a request rather, to explain on how the politics of Kenya are tribalized.
But you can go ahead and speak to that.
Thank you, Esther. The Kenyan politics are highly ethnicized, and through this, it resulted into the post-election violence that was witnessed in Kenya. And as youths, we realize that most of the youths are involved in propagating ethnic politics. This is because they have nothing to do. They're just idle, and therefore someone can bribe them with 100 shillings to go and kill someone, or to vote against someone because that person doesn't come from his or her tribe. And on realizing this, Spring Break Kenya, we endeavor to work with the youth so that we can give them an income generating activity. We can engage their minds. We can engage their energy so that their energy is not directed towards playing tribal politics or being hired to shout against a politician who is not from their background or so. And therefore, we believe that by these youth engaging in different activities, by them engaging in carrying out their own businesses, they'll not engage in conflict. And also through the camps, I said earlier that these camps, the youth attending to these camps are from different backgrounds, are from diverse backgrounds, are from diverse ethnic groups. And therefore, by bringing them together, we are actually calling upon them to peacefully coexist with one another. And also, by them interacting with people from different areas, from different ethnic backgrounds, they are able to integrate with one another and they are able to learn from one another. They are able to share with one another what happens in the different areas of Kenya. And as you know, institutions of higher learning, the universities, these universities hold students from all over the country, from all the ethnic backgrounds, from all the 42 tribes which are in Kenya. And therefore, we're trying to kill this tribal politics in Kenya through Spring Break by bringing the youth together, by making them learn the diverse languages, by making them learn the diverse cultural practices, and making them understand that electing a leader on tribal basis actually is not beneficial to the youth and to the country as a whole. And therefore, I will say that with time we'll be able to make more youths understand the need to peacefully coexist with one another in an ethnicized environment.
Good. I see a question from Max, and this is a very good question. He's asking what other type of collaboration partnerships are needed at Spring Break Kenya right now? As I say, that's an excellent question. Say one of about, when we talk about Spring Break Kenya, our core aim is to build transformative networks and partnerships between students, universities of higher learning, and NGO. So we strive to build these networks that will eventually lead to bringing sustainable change. And I've asked myself this question over and over: what does a sustainable community mean? I believe a sustainable community must have functioning education system. We must have infrastructure. We must have a functioning agriculture. People must be able to feed themselves. We must have lighting system. We must have clean water. But one thing, just as as I said, we've been working with partnerships, but we still call on partnerships. We are open to partnerships. But I would like to point out of something that's actually building up right now as I speak. Just because we've been reaching out to people, we are finally getting to work on a model where that will have other partners on board. For instance, we have Dual Life Partnership that is with us. We have Just Save One that's still coming on. So when we go to a community, we can provide lighting through the Dual Light. We can provide clean water through Just Save One. We can provide infrastructure. We are yet to get that link to infrastructure. So we are calling out to anybody that's tuned in that knows about NGOs or people who are working with kind of making sure infrastructure systems work in the communities. Hoping to make sure that we have ICT, we have Mshamba, but we're also calling upon people that can help us wire the communities that we go working so that these people have access to the internet. It's the 21st century. So there's no reason as to why our communities should still be behind. We still be able to have a public education system So we already have, as the community right now we are working is we have a Faulu Academy. But how can we create mentorship so that those students can be able to eventually get onto their way to a better education system? So we are partnering with every kind of organization so that we bring a sustainable change to the community. I forgot health clinic. I just recently got connected to somebody who's working with us so that he can be creating clinics in the area we go, Mama Maria clinics. So when we go to a community, we help bring water, clean water. We help revamp the agriculture sector in the communities. We help mentor the children so that they get a better education. We give them light. We help sell the dual light so that people have lighting in the community. So we are kind of creating this sustainable change, and I've pointed out just a few of the organizations that are partnering with us. We still have much more that's yet to be done. And I'm reaching out to people that have other things that they can offer to the community. Reach out to us and we'll be happy to partner with you. And we work together. As I said, our core aim, our core vision is to bring sustainable change in our communities. We work from bottom up. Thank you.
Thank you, Esther. There is also a question from Mark on whether similar issues, whether other countries in Africa are facing similar issues to Kenya, and if there could be, for instance, a spring break Uganda. I want to mention that we are working with a group of youth in Uganda, and this group of youth are mainly refugees from DRC who also have a similar interest in what you're doing. They have invited us on several locations to attend their annual conferences and share with them what you're doing. And we're still discussing on areas of collaboration. How can we share the knowledge that we have with them? How can they share what they have with us? And therefore, through this, we are building collaborations with them too. And we intend to scale up this to other countries too, not only Uganda, throughout the East Africa, but we really want to do some substantive work in Kenya before moving ahead to other countries too. Though work is in pipeline, working with Uganda, working with the youth in Uganda, working with the youth in DRC, and we believe that through this we'll bring the change that we desire.
And okay, what are the other questions? I would just also like to take this opportunity to thank, as I said, Spring Break Kenya has really been successful just because of very many committed people who work day and night. I would like to just really appreciate the work of our director, Simeon Ogonda. I would say I can tell you that he works day and night to make sure that Spring Break Kenya is achieving the goals that we set. I've never seen such dedicated people, and this to me clearly shows me that we have a lot of young people that really want change, that are yearning to be the change they want, and they are willing to create that change through thick and thin. And as I said, Spring Break Kenya does not have like major donors. We've all funded a lot of it through our own funding from our pocket because we believe in the core mission of what we are doing. And I would like to just say a special thank you to our director, Simeon, our secretariat members who have worked tirelessly day and night and with no salaries, with nothing, with no incentives, but driven by the core passion to serve, the passion to bring the change they want to see. Our board members, I would like to say thank you, and our many supporters. I always receive messages of encouragement, messages of well wishing from a lot of my friends, and I would like to say thank you. Thank you to also the very active Pwani University chapter members, Daylin and Eunice and Charity, Joseph. These are people, these are names that I come into my mind because these are students, some of the amazing students that I've worked with over the years. And I would like to say that I'm in the years, I have never even met them to begin with. But we've been able to get connected by the passion, by our passion, by what we want to see. And so this to me is also, I'm encouraging a lot of young people that are tuned in that you don't have to have $1 million to effect change, to create change. You work with what you have. And the communities in Kenya have everything. The communities have invested in us as the young people, and we need to get back and give back the communities through what we learn at the universities, what we learn at the colleges. Let's give it back and let's help mentor the next generation of incoming young people because they are our future. We must remember too, and mentorship is one of the big things in Spring Break Kenya because we want to create that pipeline of our next incoming leaders. And yes, I say thank you very much to all the Spring Break Kenya members, our friends, our supporters. We really appreciate from the bottom of my heart. Job, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I want also to thank the Vonvo community for giving us this opportunity to share our passion and to share what Spring Break is doing in trying to bring change in our community, in working with the youth. And also, there is a question on whether we are thinking to bring more green energy like windmills and water wheels to the Kenyan communities. As Esther said, we are welcoming all kind of partnership. We are welcoming all kind of assistance, whether it is material assistance, whether it is in terms of ideas on how we can scale up or on what you can do differently. We are welcoming it, and we wish to bring more green energy to the rural community of the Kenyan communities.
Oh, and yeah, somebody's asking how do I donate through what website? I believe if Max is listening, he had set up a donation link. But if not, just kindly email us, and I'll take. I will. Simeon, if you're tuned in, just type in the email address that people can contact you through, and also feel free to visit. Be sure to visit our webpage. We have a webpage, and we have a Twitter account too. So, and we're pretty active, and as I said, we're also growing, and we encourage a lot of international, local partnerships too. We just had recently, Spring Break Kenya, we were represented in an international conference, Youth Making Sense International, and our director talked about what we are doing back in Kenya, and we encourage the people who are tuned in to reach out to us. If you have any information that will allow us to effect more change, we are very open to ideas. We are very open to new partnerships. We are very open to growing. As I said, for 2 years, we've done a lot of groundwork, and we know there's so much potential. And for us, our really, as I said, our core motto is we want to be the change we want to see. We want to create the change we really want to see in our communities. And I am very confident of Spring Break Kenya, and moving forward. There's so much to be done, but yet there's so much willingness by the people to do good, by young university students, and I'm personally very inspired by every time these passionate young Kenyan university students get out there to help Spring Break Kenya fulfill our mission, it brings joy to my heart. So we hope, we hope Max, answered the question of the donation link that was supposed to be there. And if not, just as I said, email us. We will email you with the right information. Thank you.
There is a final question on whether we are a non-profit organization from Raphael. Yes, we are, Raphael. We are a non-profit organization, and we don't. We work towards developing our communities.
And with that, maybe you wanna give the final closing words, Joe?
Yes. Many thanks to all of you who tuned in. Many thanks to Max, and many thanks to the entire Vonvo community for making this a success. We are really grateful, and we thank you for tuning in and listening to us. And we believe that together we are going to scale up Spring Break Kenya. We are going to make a difference in our communities. We believe that whatever we have shared, you're going to share with another person who will also share with another person. And through that, we'll be able to create a big difference. We started small, and we're growing, and we hope to grow and grow and grow.
And I thank you, Marcia. Thank you, Rafael, for very, very insightful questions. We really enjoyed you being with us. We really enjoyed very thought-provoking questions, and we are taking in, the discussion points that we raised from your question, answering your question. We really value that. Thank you, Max, for allowing us to really be able to carry our discussion on Vonvo, and we hope many other organizations can really use the channel as a way to reach out to more supporters. And to say very many thanks to the people that tuned in from the US, from across the world. Many thanks to my team in Kenya, who I know many of them I work with, but we've never met. But it doesn't matter. You don't have to know people by face to be able to work together. That's one very important message I would like to say or take home from the Spring Break Kenya. As I say, it was founded through internet. Spring Break Kenya was founded through Facebook, actually. It was a Facebook chat that led to Spring Break Kenya, and it took 2 years, and work was still going on before I met Simeon. So when people say, "Oh, you have to be there to really do the work," I would refute that notion. Let's continue to work together, and a special thanks to Job for really making a good moderator. Really enjoyed that, and thanks to everyone. Let's continue to be the change we want to see. Let's continue to be the agents of change, and let's create that change that we want to see. That's my final word.
Thank you. And feel free to share with us any innovative ideas that you have.
Okay, I think with that we'll finish the chat. Thank you everyone for tuning in.
Thank you, Esther.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.